Welcome to the bizarre, paranoia-filled, bad acid trip world that is Psychopomp. Psychopomp is a game in which I cannot begin to explain, where every answer just makes you ask more questions, but you can't help but be fascinated by it all. It's not exactly an approachable game, and it certainly wasn't for me. But this game was almost custom built for my friend that this My Friend Recommends series is based on. It is weird. It is hard to explain. It's full of subtext and hidden meanings that only the insane and the disturbed can decode. The game starts with a seemingly dystopian world and a stressed-out girl smoking her troubles away, until she invents a helmet that opens her eyes to the world underneath her own, that apparently seems to give her a smile that just stares into your soul. And then she descends into the underworld, and what you find there is, well, again, it is hard to explain. Gameplay-wise, it's pretty simple, very reminiscent of the old dungeon crawlers along with the glories of tank controls. You spend your time walking through darkly lit corridors, avoiding various kinds of traps, there's a little bit of platforming, and beating enemies over the head with your trusty hammer. Progression consists of doing tasks within an area and not dying in the process. You have the options of look, talk, touch, and hammer, and you'll be getting a lot of use of all of them. So from a gameplay standpoint, there isn't really much going on here, but that's not the appeal of games like this. Though I will say, it's not boring. It'll keep you on your toes start to finish. Visually, I found it very hard to look at. It's a harsh 8-bit world drenched in darkness and bizarre shadows. Though I will say the tank controls feel quite natural in the game. They're confining, making every movement deliberate, and it makes you pay attention to everything around you. I'll also say the art style for the main character is fantastic. Just look at that smile. Keeping it even as she takes damage. In fact, the only time she ever loses that smile is when she's right on the edge of death. Her best friend becomes her hammer, to which she uses liberally. And I suspect as you play, the word hammer will become a comfort word for you. But everything else is, well, as I said before, hard to explain. And that's mostly because I simply don't understand it. The core of this game is figuring out what on earth is going on in this bizarre world and how much of it is real. I mean, making a helmet that can read minds, which grants access to a secret underground nightmare world, sounds like it can't be real, right? Does it help if I say the creator of the game made a point to state that everything we see in the game is in fact real? Now you can take the opinion that the main character of the game has just cracked and is utterly insane, and I think that'll create enough of a through line to piece together some of what's going on. After all, I hope it's not too much of a spoiler to say that at the core, this game is a love story. But if you put on your helmet and accept the world under the world is real, you just might be surprised at what you find to be true. The game does give you very useful game tips and real-world facts. What could possibly be wrong with those? They must be, indeed, very real. There's so many layers of what's going on, and I can safely say, I don't even begin to understand it myself. But there is something there to figure out. The more you play, the more you get that feeling. Even if you can't quite put the pieces together, the pieces are there, tantalizing you with what each bit might mean. At first, the game feels like a random mess, but eventually it begins to draw you in, and as you experience more of it, you begin to see threads connect. The mystery of who your character is, what her name is, who she seeks, and why becomes the subtextual core of the game. The world around here doesn't make any sense, but at the same time, it feels how it's supposed to be. Everything is twisted and wrong, and the art style and sound design absolutely sells that. I will say, there's a secret alternative to the menu screen music that I kinda wish I could talk about, but it's something you should experience yourself, if you ever decide to take on this strange game. Now I could try to break this game down and explain more of it, but in truth, I'm not equipped to do that in any proper way. Also, I think you should experience it yourself. There's so much there to figure out. That is, if you dare to step into the paranoid, mind-twisting world that is Psychopomp. Well, that's all I have for today. I really appreciate you watching. Have a good day and take care.